Hi, my name is Sarah Knievi. I am a school social worker at Badger Rock Middle School, and I support positive behavior support for several of our Madison elementaries. I'm going to spend some time with you today talking about healthy relationships and building healthy relationships with students. In this segment, we'll cover developmental stages for students, building healthy relationships, and positive behavior support. Let's begin with developmental stages. Each student that we work with comes to us with different strengths and different things that are unique to their age and who they are in the world. So as a grounding activity, I'm going to read a few phrases. While I'm reading the phrases, consider what grade this student might be in. They can work together in groups. They want factual explanations. They're competitive as well as cooperative. They work hard and take pride in their work. They like to challenge rules and test limits. I'm talking about a 5th grader. Let's try another one. Often thinks out loud before acting. Talkative and noisy. Can do quiet work for a little bit longer periods of time. Listens well and is learning to speak more precise. That is a typical 1st grader. And let's try one more. Enjoys hands-on exploration of how things work. Gets very bothered by their mistakes and tries really hard to make things perfect. Getting better at handwriting, handcrafts, computers, and drawing. Excited but also nervous about the broader world. That is describing a typical 3rd grader. Many of you have received a pamphlet related to child development. If you haven't, talk to your volunteer coordinator about getting a pamphlet that talks about the developmental characteristics for the age group that you're serving. I'm going to have you pause the video and read over the pamphlet, highlighting 3 to 5 things you think are important to remember when working with a student at that particular age. Take a minute to pause the video, unpause it when you're ready to return. So hopefully the developmental pamphlet will help guide your work and you'll use as a consideration when working with students. Often in my own social work practice, I'll reread the pamphlet when I'm getting stuck with a student before I work with him or her, when problems are coming up. So for example, a 3rd grader is nervous about the world. That's developmentally appropriate for a 3rd grader to begin to get some anxiety because they're realizing the world is bigger than themselves. So I might spend a lot of time reassuring a 3rd grader that it's okay to be nervous, that it's okay to try new things and not know exactly how it's going to work out. So these developmental characteristics really ground us in how to best serve students because it reminds us that they come to us with a unique set of social, physical, and cognitive attributes. I'm going to use a metaphor to begin to talk about building healthy relationships. I'd like you to take a second to think about relationships with students as a bank account. As with a normal bank account, you need to make deposits into your account to make sure your sum stays in the positive, that you are not withdrawing. But there are times in the week, many times, sometimes in the week, that we need to take withdrawals because we need cash or we need to purchase something. Relationships are a lot like this. We have to put a ton of deposits into our students, way more deposits than withdrawals. So take a second to consider what might some deposits look like with students. What are some things that you can do to serve as students to build a positive relationship? Here are some suggestions for deposits that you can make with students. Each and every time you meet with a student, greet them by their name. Inquire about their family or their friends. Make a connection to their interests. Offer them choices whenever possible. Choices in what books they're reading, choices in what problems they're working on first, choices in where they want to sit. Give them specific verbal praise so that they know exactly what it is that they're doing well and that they can continue to do well. Listen to them attentively. Show up each and every time you say you're going to show up. If you know you're going to be missing, let the student know you're going to be missing, because it is important that they can count on you and predict when you will be there for them. And if you make promises or say you're going to do something for the student, make sure you follow through on your promises and commitments to them. These are just a few suggestions of how you can make deposits with the students we work with. And just like your bank account, we said earlier, there are times you need to take withdrawals. There are times you need to remind students that you expect more of them and that they need to live up to what it is you agreed to. Take a second and consider what withdrawals might you need to make for students. Here's some examples of common withdrawals that we need to make during the school day. Often we will have to redirect a student if they're getting off task, if they're not following adult directions. Sometimes we have to have students complete fix-its, or they've done something that they've harmed either a person or a property and they need to make amends for that. Sometimes a withdrawal is as simple as ignoring a child when they're doing attention-seeking behavior that isn't productive for learning. Sometimes we have to take withdrawals when students are unable to attend or pay attention to what's going on. Again, these are just a few examples of what it looks like to take a withdrawal in the student relationship bank account. As mentioned earlier, one way to make deposits with your students is to get to know what they like, get to know what they're interested in. One very tangible, concrete way you can do this is to do some interest inventory activities. I've listed 3 hyperlinks for you to follow to pull up 3 different individual interest inventories by clicking the links on this page. Interest inventories often ask things about your family, about what you like to do after school, about your favorite topics in school. It gives you some structure to a conversation, and it allows you to take notes that you can come back to best know who your student is and what it is they truly care about. The second idea I'd like to share with you about making healthy relationships is learning about the student's culture. When I say culture, I mean home culture, I mean neighborhood culture, I also mean youth culture and school culture. You can ask the student to bring some pictures from home or draw some pictures of their family or draw pictures of their friends. You can ask very open-ended questions that allow the student to shine related to his family, related to his neighborhood, and related to her friendships. You could also ask them to bring in something from home that's special to them and tuck it in their backpack and bring it out during tutoring time and have them explain what that is and why that's special. If you want to take another artistic route, you can make collages and cut up pictures from magazines, or go online and download pictures and make a collage about what it is they do when they're not in school. Invest the time in understanding who it is that our students are and what culture they bring to the table.